Okay, I believe that I'm live. So hopefully I've fixed some of the technical problems from previous streams. Hopefully that isn't an issue, and hello to the one person in chat so far. Good to have you here. Hopefully there's less of a delay in between me seeing your guys' responses and then you actually hearing me talk to you. I previously had that on the lowest latency possible, so it was rather hard to have any kind of communication going. Just playing a little bit of Risk of Rain today. Nothing that crazy. Probably should have a pinned chat comment. Oh, hello there. I'm streaming at a little bit of a different time today, but hopefully that actually means that I have more energy than before. Normally I stream at the end of the day, which is pretty rough for my energy levels. But today we're just going to be hanging out, chatting about literally whatever. I am down to talk about basically anything. Oh sweet, about to hit 200 lunar coins, that's fun. Maybe I should actually start spending lunar coins, that'd be a revolutionary concept. So I found the teleporter, but I still want more items. Don't have nearly enough for my liking. If we get more of those lag spikes, then I might have to switch something on my end. Because last time I streamed, I got a ton of those lag spikes for some reason. I thought that I had fixed them. Or at least lowered the frequency, but that was unfortunately early in the run to be having it. That's frustrating. So far the items aren't actually bad. Attack speed and crit are exactly what you want for when you have flurry. I mean, really, attack speed and crit chance are what you want for literally every single survivor in the game, but it's especially good for this primary attack. And I'm actually, you know, going for different music than before because the like lo-fi stuff, the loop of like DMCA free music in the background was driving me insane. So just going with default Risk of Rain music, so I don't feel like I'm going gradually insane, or any more insane than usual. Welcome everyone. Yeah, let's get out of here. This is a shockingly good stage 1. Maybe I should have healed up a little bit beforehand, but eh. So how are you all doing today? I'm doing pretty well. I mean, haven't really done much of anything yet today, but it's fine. Okay, this run so far has been incredibly good, even though like half the items are bad. The other ones are good enough to make up for it. Oh, Just not realizing the better you... Because I'm actually using a couple of mods. Like, literally, like, 2 mods. Okay, that's the second one stage. During my tests earlier, I got, like, 1 in, like, 20 minutes. That's weird. Yeah, but I'm using 2 mods today. One that is supposed to be helping with that stuttering issue that just popped up, but that one has also not been updated in about a year, so it might just not work anymore. And then the other one gives all of this information. It is literally just a UI is better mod that I found myself missing because I normally play with it. It's nice to see that y'all are doing good. I don't know why it is, but apparently whenever I stream or, you know, do any kind of public speaking, because this is, in a way, still public speaking, I don't normally say stuff like y'all, but if I'm talking in front of a group of people, oh boy do I say y'all. That was about 1 stutter every 2.5 minutes. If that's it, I'm gonna try a different... something that worked in a previous stream that isn't as pretty as the current model that I'm using to represent myself, but if it doesn't slow the game down to a crawl every couple of minutes, then it is better. Because let's be real here, my the model that I've made is not good enough to justify poor gameplay. Yeah, from the south, it's kind of funny, like, depending on how much I'm in the south, I literally don't notice southern accents, or I'm gone for like a couple of months, and then I come back and it's like people are speaking a different language. The highest level content I've ever gotten to mess around with, I am about halfway through book 6 of Agents of Edgewatch. So we have 19th level characters, and it is an experience, because 19th level characters, if they're built with like any amount of optimization in mind, are complete powerhouses that generally are going to have one shtick that they go for, but by God are they amazing at it. So I have it is about once every 2.5 minutes, huh? I'm going to keep on using my current setup until, so I can see whether or not that happens again. But, and like I'm playing a 19th level gymnast swashbuckler who just grapples everything that moves, that has the wrestler archetype, so I can even grapple things that have freedom of movement. And it's interesting the effect that has on like every single fight, because even if something is like 2 or even maybe 3 levels above the party's level, that character can still consistently grapple, which is grapple and possibly restrain, which is a very effective strategy, especially because there's basically no way for anything to get out of that grapple without spending 1 or 2 actions. This run has amazing items. So it's interesting because like every single creature that we've fought has had some weird ability. Like high level monster design is nuts because like looking at it you might think, oh, Paizo's just kind of ignoring balance at that level, because you get truly stupid stuff. Like I think that there's I believe that we fought a creature that had a reaction that could literally just bounce spells back once a round. So you cast a spell on a creature, it uses that spell back at you. Which is terrifying because of how, like, oh, if someone wants to spend an 8th or a 9th level spell, that's going to be doing a ridiculous amount of damage, and it's going to generally be more effective back on the caster than it is on the enemy in the first place. So you have these ridiculous enemies with absurd abilities, but it ends up being very effective. Or the party has not struggled for me. Although that is a situation where we have a 5-person party. And I don't know exactly how much the GM is. It is like every 2.5 minutes. Yeah, but I don't know how much the GM has actually been adjusting the balance of the game for 5 people. Because Agents of Edgewatch is a brutal campaign. And like the first half, we had like near TPKs every week. So I don't know how much the GM has actually been adjusting the balance. So it could just be that we're having a slightly easier time at high level because we have a party that is a damage-dealing monster. So we're just kind of just doing well due to that. But basically, I only have the one experience with high-level play, and it is with a party that can generally get through almost every combat in like 2 rounds, which is nasty. Oh, yeah. Speaking from experience, nothing feels more like satisfying than grappling a dragon. Actually, no, that's not right. That's not right. Nothing is more satisfying than grappling a creature with freedom of movement. And then it tries to escape, and then rather than getting an automatic success, it fails. Especially on creatures that like have freedom of movement constantly cast on them. It's just fun. And absolutely not fun if you do not have a way to, at will, to basically what I'm saying is specializing in grapple and then running into something with freedom of movement kind of sucks if you don't have the inescapable grasp feat. Speaking of which, if you're running a grappler, you should really take the wrestler archetype just for that feat. Yeah, the highest level I've gotten in 1E was, I think, level 12 or 13, although that game was in reality not... Oh, that's right. That's right. Give me 1 second, dealing with technical problems. So, bye. And, let me start up something. I'm still here, but, hopefully... well, probably should turn that off. But the highest level I got in 1E was 12 or 13, but in reality, that group was probably punching like 3 levels above their weight class due to a couple of rules change, or homebrew rules that the GM implemented, which was basically stat boosting items don't exist, so you get 2 stat boosts every even level. Which basically meant that every character's every character's ability scores were about like 4 higher than they should have been, and I believe I should be back or not. Why am I not back? Okay, there we go. Okay. So, there we go. Yeah. So, there was just a bunch of stuff going on in that campaign that was very homebrew, that made a 1E party that punched above their weight class about a couple levels higher than normal for a high-level 1E party. Even though we had only 3 characters. It's just, oh, there's high-level sorcerer. Okay, they're already gonna be stupid. Because high-level casters in 1E were a party into themselves, and then we had a Unchained... Oh god, what were their multi-classes? This was a guy's first character, so they were kind of a mess, because Pathfinder 1E, first characters are always a bit of a mess. But, I think he was an Unchained Rogue Ranger Slayer? No, he also had the Assassin Prestige class, which basically meant he had about a plus 20 stealth at level 1, and he just snuck around and one-shot things because of the assassin prestige class. And he was dumb, and then I was the only frontline character, and we didn't need anyone else because I had like a 45 AC and the ability to stab anyone who tried to attack me. It was a very dumb campaign, but very fun, but still very dumb. High level 1E is something else, man. Yeah, and I am streaming earlier because yeah, I decided to actually look at my YouTube analytics, and apparently most of my audience is on YouTube in the middle of the day. For me, the middle of the day rather than at night for me. So I was kind of just being stupid by streaming earlier or later. And similar to the it's basically the system that they used was basically just 2E ability scores, but the problem was that basically the problem was in 2E you could put every 5 levels you can put an ability boost in, but what are the words? Words are hard. Basically, at level 2, my swashbuckler put a boost into dexterity, and at level 4, they put a boost into dexterity, and at level 6, into dexterity, where in 2E, you can't put all 4 boosts into dexterity, which is effectively what I was trying to do with that character. So, I ended up with like a 28 dex at level 13, which is unreasonable. So yeah. Yeah. So like it just led to like the sorcerers spell save for all of their spells being like 3 or 4 higher than the math in Pathfinder 1 was expecting them to be, which is not necessarily good. I mean, there was also a problem with we had substantially higher gold than anticipated. Like 4 times as much gold. But it was a very fun campaign, just kind of balance be damned sort of campaign. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about watching stuff while doing work. I can't. I have 2 monitors. I need to have one thing going on at least. Oh, sweet molten perforator. But I need to have at least like 2 things going on each one, or not 2 things. 1 thing going on each screen, or otherwise I cannot focus. And as you're probably telling currently, I can't focus anyway. But like honestly, I am streaming because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be playing this anyway, and rather than watching a YouTube video, I could do something on YouTube. Let's see. Okay, that's actually not bad. Let's see what I can get from Newt. Yeah, no, it was a mythic campaign that didn't use mythic rules. It was silly. But making 10 attacks of opportunity in a round by running through a crowd was satisfying. Okay, let's be dumb. Shaped glass is my favorite item in the game. Despite the fact that it is, not as one could put it, safe. Because now I can get one shot. And I am much more likely to get one shot than to survive the run. Okay. Yeah, the character that I had for that campaign was probably the most optimized character I've ever played, and I did it entirely unintentionally. It was great. Flying Blade Swashbuckler is a very stupid archetype in Pathfinder 1e. Okay, I might be dead. Oh! Shocker. One bleed stack didn't kill me. Oh, Synthesis Summoner is... yeah. That sure is a class option. A lot of games that I've seen online have said, like, okay, basically every option in 1E is allowed unless it, like, really just breaks the setting or something. And then on top of that, no Synthesis Summoner. Or only Unchained Summoner. Because, God, that you could do silly things with that class. I should probably check how much the legendary chest is. So I would really like a use item, considering that I have a Gesture of the Drowned. And I'd like to get something out of that Linner coin that I spent. Okay. Lot of imps, Jesus. No longer a lot of imps. And what was that legend chest? 3327? Okay. That's absolutely doable. Yeah, I want the guillotine. I mean, like, even just a normal summoner is technically not a one player army, yes, not one person, because summoner, you're not with one person, but I honestly think that, oh, that is one of the worst use items I could have gotten. Yeah. I feel like on it, one of the most common house rules that I've seen is, for 1E specifically, is you're limited to one, like, follower at once. So, yes, you are allowed to play, like, let's say, a hunter. But if you take the Primal Hunter archetype, you're not allowed to summon a pack of 20 wolves to fight with you in combat, because that will just slow down combat for literally everyone. And people don't like waiting for 20 minutes to get to their turn. Or, you know, summoners who have access to a stupid amount of, like, summon monster 7s every day. I should really just start getting out of here. Okay. Stone Titan. I can deal with a Stone Titan. Maybe. Oh, I am much closer to death than I realized. I was not looking at my health for a minute there. Okay, just the one Stone Titan left. Oh, also lockbox. Well, I have a frustrating amount of Lepton Daisies. Yeah, there are house rules that I think exist, not in the sense of, I think that this is broken, which admittedly, summoning a ton of enemies is generally insanely good, but there are house rules in the sense of, we all kind of want to play the game here and have fun. And, yeah, summoning a ridiculous amount of creatures is frustrating. Just because, yeah, having to wait that long to be able to do your turn, and then you're a fighter and you attack 4 times, do a bunch of damage, and then it's over, and then it takes like the wizard 6 minutes to do their turn, can be frustrating. The one time that someone in my group has done it, and everyone agreed, yeah, no, now's the time, was when I should remember to get the legendary. What was I thinking? Oh, yeah, but it was when everyone was out of spell slots, and someone, namely my character, had gotten grabbed by an alligator and was underwater, and no one had anything to do, but we had a druid in the party who could summon elementals, and we're like, okay, just this once, you can summon a bunch of water elementals. The Mammoth Lord archetype, I've not actually seen. Ever since I stopped making an archetype review every week, I haven't actually been keeping up to date with like every single archetype that's been coming out. But I believe that it allows for like huge size companions. Is that right? I would imagine that it deals with making, like, allowing for like huge sized mounts and charges and stuff, because I believe that's what the Mammoth Lord Prestige class was like in Pathfinder 1e. I might have to throw something together real quick for a very sweet stream called Archives of Nethys. Like, if you guys want me to check it, like, now I'm curious, because I basically just haven't seen much of the, what is Quest for the Frozen Flame? That's the name of the AP. I haven't seen very much about it. I saw that it was a like, oh, cool AP, but it's not exactly my jam. So I just haven't paid all that much attention to the new content that's come out in it. Yeah, I've got enough for the legendary chest. I want to get rid of this radar so bad, so it can stop. Oh, I'll start large, then I'm presuming if you take the... Is it... Oh, Clover, let's go. This run is shaping up to be something special. I'm presuming if you get the Savage Companion, then they become huge, or they might just automatically become huge as you advance in the archetype. I think one of the, like, I'm just not really an animal companion guy, to be honest. But the silliest thing that I've seen from the Mammoth Lord archetype in 1e, or not archetype in 1e, the Prestige class, was if you take a Mammoth Lord archetype, and then I believe you have to give it was one particular archetype that you could give your animal companion, that eventually it got the compression monster ability. So then if you shrank it and yourself, you could also get compression somehow. So then you could ride on a mammoth that's like a medium-sized mammoth and you're like tiny-sized, and then you can charge with compression. You could fit within, like, you could charge through, I'm forgetting how small of space is, but it's like you could take the charge action under a door frame. Because your mammoth and you are goop monsters. And I just remember seeing that and thinking, how on earth are you going to come up with a backstory that character fits? Like, that's not going to work, right? But I'd be interested to see how it works in Pathfinder 2e. I admit that I do not have much experience at all with animal companions in 2e, because the most I've seen of an animal companion was an animal order druid in one of my campaigns that died in 2 sessions. So I just don't have that much experience with what they're like. I know that there isn't a whole lot of stuff there for, like, barding. I know that people have been really wanting that for the treasure vault. Which, if it isn't there, even more reason for me wanting the next book after the treasure vault to be, like, Ultimate Wilderness, but 2nd edition. Which would have the shifter and kineticist. Because Ultimate Wilderness was a very fun book from Pathfinder 1e that unfortunately was like the last hardcover book that they put out, so it just didn't get a lot of attention or use because it was the last one. But it's a fun book, and I don't know. So many of 2e's APs are like super rural or just near to a town that I just love some stuff for just, yeah, you're going out in the woods sorts of campaigns. Oh, yeah, that does sound like an Eldest thing. Oh, I want a Fae campaign. Like, I want a Fae AP. I know it'd be hard because Fae are rather hard to fit into a linear story that has to be remotely the same for a large group of players, and they are chaos. But I just want to have Fae be like a primary theme across a campaign, because I think I don't know that much about Kingmaker, but I know that there are Fae in Kingmaker, but I don't know if they're like the main antagonists. Or basically what I'm saying is I want a themed AP around Fae. Fae are just fun. Yeah. Well, that was a bad one. Well, we should be able to get out of here soon enough. Also, a Fae campaign would finally have reason for someone for full sprite parties, which sounds like it would be an incredible amount of fun. Oh, okay. Honestly, I wasn't following. I was following 1E kind of closely, but it really took until the Advanced Player's Guide for 2E for me to like actually start following book to book what was coming out for Pathfinder. Oh, I might die here. Grandparents plus shaped glass. Oh, never mind. Just if they had tagged me with like 3 of their debuffs, I was dead. Yeah, I feel like the 2 ways that you can really get your PCs and your entire party super paranoid is to have devils be one of the main antagonists. Like, just have a bunch of devils be everywhere, and for Fae to be everywhere. Because 1, contracts are fun, and then 2, Fae are just chaos incarnate. Oh, okay, I didn't know. I knew that Fae were like a big thing in Kingmaker, but I didn't know if they were the main problem. Like, the Giants of Giant Slayer kind of problem. Which Fae would be such a more interesting antagonist than Giants are. Because they are much more interesting mechanically. Giants in general are hit big with big hammer, which is very scary because they do a lot of damage, but it's not interesting. why go for Doglins when Shuni already exist? Why am I going up here? There's literally nothing for me to do up there. Oh, I so should have taken the watch. I already have limited health. I mean, to be fair, rules is written, skeletons also take bones. That's how they repair themselves every night. Also, I just love, like, one of the little tidbits that they added into the Book of the Dead. Like, super minor thing, but, in Book of the Dead, Geb hypothesizes that the reason why so many undead are attached to particular subjects and ideas, like how zombies want to eat brains, and ghouls want to eat flesh, and vampires want to eat blood, despite the fact that there isn't, like, they function without them. They don't need those to survive. Like, a ghoul without food just goes insane, it doesn't die. But the reason why Geb thinks that, so many different undead have those connections, or that draw towards that, is due to the connection to Urgatho, who's also a god of gluttony. So it's that connection to the god of gluttony that makes, or goddess of gluttony, that makes them constantly want to devour and consume, which makes sense. Yeah, I only actually started playing, I started playing 2E about, like, a month after the APG came out. Like, I had heard good things about it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'll give it a shot. And then, I have actually, I can't say I've been never going back to 1E because I'm currently playing in 1E, but, it's very good. Yeah, and there are also, I know that there's, it's, like, hypothesized that the reason why ghouls are, or rather that elves are immune to ghoul fever. It's been hypothesized that the god or creator of ghouls, I'm forgetting their name or what their actual connection to ghouls is. I think they were the first ghoul that basically is just a god to ghouls. But it's hypothesized that they were an elf, which is why, or were originally an elf, which is why elves can't get ghoul fever. And Geb's take on that is, that's stupid. Ghasts are just stronger ghouls, and elves can be affected by ghast fever, so it wouldn't make sense. But it would make sense. Oh, my throat is killing me. Okay, Demon Lord, okay. Yeah, no, I don't really... Yeah, the whole liches have to feed off of knowledge is weird. There's so much cool Outer Plane stuff in Pathfinder that is kind of hard to show off, and especially hard to give to PCs, because everything there is just, like, abject monsters. Like, oh, daemons are super cool, and nothing ever sides with them. There's no reason why any PC would want to work with a daemon. Yeah, I'll think about Noida. The thing is that I like roguelikes where I don't have to think. And Noida seems very much like a roguelike where you have to think a lot. In general, video games are my brain off, no one home kind of experience. But I'll think about Noida. Oh yeah, you do have to be insane to play as a follower of any kind of daemon. I had an idea. There's a really fun prestige class that I want to bet, like, single digits people have actually played in Pathfinder 1e, or maybe less than 100, let's say, because it's kind of hard to get away with playing the Soul Drinker, which you have to be not just like a follower. Oh, absolutely taking that. That's gonna crash my game. That's like a 1 in 1,000 drop. Or no, less than a 1 in 1,000. But the Soul Drinker prestige class, you can't just be a follower of a Horseman of the Apocalypse. You have to like literally take the dedication feat for them. But it's really fun, and who doesn't want to be able to power their spells using the crystallized souls of their victims? Like, use them oh, we need diamond dust to cast this spell? Well, I have a couple of commoner souls that I think should equate to that value. And just like all the Horse Lords have such cool lore. Especially Chiron. Like, Chiron is one of the most intimidating outsider characters in the entire Galarian universe, because, oh yeah, he's the Horseman of Death, and every other horseman has been replaced like 4 times, and Chiron has never been replaced because no one can kill Chiron. Everyone who tries dies horribly. Honestly, now that I think about it, there's actually a lot of room, I would say, further to be a AP that focuses on the Horseman. Probably not Chiron. Probably not like, oh, we're gonna kill Chiron as the climax for this AAP. But some of the other Daemon Lords are not nearly as entrenched or as powerful. So I could totally see Daemons being a primary antagonist across the entirety of an AP. Or there's like some kind of cult that is trying to bring back, oh, what is its name? Oh, it's the Anya Daemon? Prima Daemon? It's the first Daemon that was ever made. That basically nothing is known about, even in, like... Oh, well, there we go. Gotta love shaped glass. Okay. But, yeah, the actual lore behind how the Daemons existed is basically a soul washed up on the edge of the River of Souls, and then it became the first Daemon, that then created 4 other Daemons that became the first 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypses. And then after a while, the 4 Horsemen basically realized, oh, this guy just keeps on making more and more powerful Daemons. And we don't like that. He has, like, too much power. So, then they killed him, or maybe didn't kill him. It's unknown whether or not they even had the capability to destroy him. So, he might just be sealed somewhere as... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That should be hacking that. What else? What's going on? Huh. Yeah, it's like there are instances where you can team up with the Horsemen, but it's never a long-term thing. And honestly, out of all of the Horsemen, and this might be the reason why he's still actually around, the one that you'd probably want to team up with is Chiron. Because Chiron is explicitly listed as, he is the patient one that will wait for the inevitable end of the universe. And or really, it's the... Thakia Daemons? Well, the Deacons of Death, Chiron's personal Daemons, are the ones that are explicitly listed as, yeah, they're honestly one of the more friendly types of Daemons, But that's more of their plans last for centuries, and then they really fuck up a lot of people. So normal daemons are rip and tear until everything is dead, and Athaki daemons are, we're going to set up a plan a century in the making to just wipe out an entire civilization. They have patience, which makes them scary. We're just going to ignore their 1E stat block where they have 4 attacks that each applies 1 negative level. That's the actual reason why they're scary. Yeah, I have heard a lot of stuff about Exalted, but I honestly just don't know anything about it. Most of my tabletop experience is limited to just Pathfinder, although I do have some experience with some setting neutral systems. But I've heard a lot of stuff about stuff like Exalted and other really popular game systems. I've just never gotten into them. Like, there's an extent of me where I'm like, oh yeah, if someone is truly that powerful, then I don't know how I would actually, like, play out combat. Or it seems like combat should exist on a more conceptual level when compared to, like, tactical Pathfinder combat. But the other part of me is, no, I want to tell you exactly what I do whenever, with my absurd power. I don't know why, but my voice is acting up a lot more than in previous streams. Yeah, I'll check out the online tutorial. Yeah, I mean, like, literally, Thaki daemons in their stat block have a cost listed to get their services as a boatman. I think it's like 50 platinum, which honestly, for Pathfinder 1E, that's not a lot. That's just 500 gold. I want to know why my hacking beacons didn't work. Because that's kind of Captain's whole shtick. I don't actually know if the Quipoliths were responsible for making... No, demons are actually created by daemons. Fucking around with human souls, not Quipoliths. Quipoliths were just in the abyss. Since, like, who knows when. I actually don't know if anyone knows when they were created. Even the Quipoliths. And then one particular horseman, and then a horseman, I don't know if their name is known. I think it was a horseman of plague or famine. They accidentally were messing around with human souls as daemons do and created the first demon. And then once the first one was made, it kind of just went open source. And all of a sudden, spontaneously, like, billions of demons just came into existence in the abyss. I may have read the Pathfinder wiki article on daemons recently. It's fun. I want to see more of Quipoliths. I don't know anything about them. I just think that they are horrifying, and that's good. And they never show up, because whenever people think of fiends, it's always, you know, the big three. And for some reason, I can never remember for the life of me the big three Celestials. I know it's Azada's, Angels, and Agathions? Right? I can never remember what the neutral good. Or, wait, are Archons... Are Archons neutral good and Angels... or I can never remember the Celestials because you never have to fight them, and I remember them by how they fight. Agathian, okay. And I don't think that Agathians are Agathians the like animal Celestials, or is that the Azatas? Archons are law, okay. Oh, Archons are lawful. Oh, and then angels are probably just their own separate category. Oh, angels are just the good, but not necessarily any particular space on... Oh, they combined Equiplith. Okay, got it. Yeah, I can never remember those. Actually, really, now that I think about it, I just want to see more of the more non-demons and non-devil outsiders. Like, really, devils and demons get all of the spotlight in Pathfinder. Because, I mean, obviously, people know about devils and demons. But daemons are cool, quiplets are just weird, and that's fun. And well, yeah, more Cthulhu would always be appreciated. But even like I want to see more good outsiders. Because like well, actually, now that I think about it, the three outsiders that get the most spotlight in Pathfinder are devils, daemons, and psychopomps. Psychopomps are everywhere. That's probably just because of the prevalence of undead in Pathfinder. But like I want to see just more cool outsiders. Specifically, there's a type of outsider that is absurdly rare that hasn't been brought over to 1E yet. Or not 1E, 2E. That I'm going to horribly fuck up the name of. Because it's both from memory and also not from, like, traditional, like, Western fantasy stories. Madashatsras, I think? They're, like, from, like, Buddhist belief. They're incredibly weird. And I love them. Yeah, Cthulhu isn't an outsider, he's an outer god. But I just want to see more weird plain shit. But I'm going to horribly mess up their names. But they never show up because that's kind of their thing. They just sit in the positive energy plane, contemplating existence and reaching perfection. And the lowest CR of them in Pathfinder 1E is like CR 15. And they have an ability where, oh, you cast Time Stop, eh? They're not affected by Time Stop. And they act with full turns. They're just like... And I think like the most powerful of them, their existence is separate from the universe, so technically they exist. They're older than the universe. There's just a bunch of really cool stuff going on there, where like, basically what my complaining comes down to is like every single outsider that generally gets a lot of attention in like Pathfinder APs, they're all like, what is this? I just want to know what is up with my beacons. Let's say if I ping it. Oh, why do I have healing beacons? Oh, I just saw a prismatic dragon. Oh, no. No, thank you. And yeah, like Bestiary 3 did have a lot of outsiders, but I want to see them more focus in APs. Because more focus in APs is going to bring more lore with them and more stat blocks. Because it's cool to have like vague general information on particular types of outsiders for homebrewers, because it's like, oh, here's a weird shadow monster. We're not going to give you any additional lore, so you can do whatever the hell you want with them. But I want to see more APs because that's what I play. Oh god. CR14 baby dragon. CR66, what the fuck? 3.5 is another whole mess. Like, I still think that one of my favorite monsters, despite the fact that I've never fought them, is Hounds of Tantalus. Because they're not really hounds, but they look like hounds. From the Plane of Time. That exist near 90-degree angles. And they get, like, special abilities when they're near 90-degree angles. And they can teleport between 90-degree angles. They're so weird, and the whole just 90-degree angle thing fits so perfectly with, this is an alien creature that we can't even comprehend their, like, how they imagine space. Which is what I'm looking for with crazy, weird outsiders. Now that I actually know I have a healing beacon, I can actually use a healing beacon. Okay, let's... Oh, I did a mountain shrine. I forgot I did a mountain shrine. Yeah, there's just a lot of, like, fun, weird stuff in Pathfinder lore. And I know that, like, for example, with Hounds of Tantalus, it is absolutely a situation wherein, like, they want to keep it vague, because if it's not vague, then it doesn't have the mystery involved, which the mystery of something like a Hound of Tantalus, the mystery is half the fun. But seeing, like, oh, no one knows who Tantalus is. It is an impossible thing to know. That's just fun. Effectively, now that I think about it, I think I have 2 APs that I want to see. Like, general ideas. I want to see a 11 to 20 AP. So a 3-book AP starts at level 11, although I would be fine with a 6-book AP with this concept. That's just about planar travel. So hopping from plane to plane to plane to plane to plane, which would be easier to do at high levels because planar travel is a lot easier to explain how you're doing it at high levels. Because, yeah, I want to go on a tour around, like, weird outer planes. That's fun. And, And I'm forgetting the name of the region of Galarian that I want, but it's just the Greek area. Like, almost explicitly, it is just Greece, or ancient Greece with, like, god kings and, oh yeah, just don't think about the guy over there who is literally descended from one of our gods. I just want to see, like, an AP set there with, like, rules for basically Mythic. Yeah, Hounds of Tantalus can really fuck up particular classes. Yeah, like pretty much every kid, I was obsessed with Greek mythology as a kid, and then it kind of went away after a while because, you know, got older, and then Hades came out, and I was like, oh, ooh, Greece Pathfinder campaign? Don't mind if I do. That could actually be a really fun game to play on stream, now that I think about it. I only own it on Switch, though. Like, if I had a capture card, I'd be playing stuff on Switch, but... Yeah, no, it's so good. And... Hades is such a good game. And I love the fact that... I'm forgetting his name. The composer for Hades described the soundtrack's genre as... I think... Oh god, what was it? It was like... Oh, it was the most unusual descriptor for a genre I've ever heard, and it was the most accurate thing I can think of for that game. What was it? It was something like... I know it had Halloween music in his description. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that AP, but I wish it was levels 1 to 20. Because it's hard to do Planar Travel to full justice whenever you're not at the pinnacle of power. Why did I grab that? I'm getting a card soon. Any words on what? I think that they said it was 1 to 11. Like, I didn't watch the panel on APs because I'm predominantly a player, and I didn't want to accidentally get any spoilers for myself. Or if they said, oh, well, about book 3 of Abomination Vaults. I didn't want to get spoiled, but... From the description that there was during the keynote address, it seemed like it was more of a... this is the paranormal investigation AP, rather than this is the planar travel AP. Oh, thank God. I need a goat hoof needed a goat hoof so bad. Now I just need like 3 more. Well, okay, so let's go in chronological order of my Abominations Vaults characters. Because, there's a lot of them. First one was Alara. Alara was a charlatan rogue that her dad had gone missing and was like, oh, he went wispy. Who was from, yeah, I'm on 3 characters. Technically 4. So, Alara was a scoundrel rogue, not charlatan, that, like, her dad went disappearing around Otari, around the fog fin, so she's been looking for him. Yada yada, gets involved in the AP, and dies in session 2. So, if you've played Abomination Vaults, it's the fight with a bunch of AoE negative damage on floor 1. That one fucked up a rogue. And then my next character. No, we didn't actually fight the Scorpion with that character. But is the room to the north of the Scorpion. I rolled like 3 nat 1s on fort saves. So really it was just a luck thing, which it happens. It's fine. Directly north of the Scorpion. Yeah, the temple. That fight is rough. But again, like, technically that was almost a TPK because one person was up with 1 health, at the end of it. But, where's the other Beetle Queen? Oh, I'm almost dead. I'm dead. But my second character was Kip. Stonejaw, not Strongjaw. I'm just gonna swap this over before I forget. We weren't exactly in a position to run away. But Kip was a kobold monk that was going to be taking the Dragon Disciple archetype and then doing the totally cheesy build of stacking Scales of the Drag with a Mountain Stance. Which doesn't work anymore, thank God, because that should not have worked in the first place. But he was just built as, oh, this party doesn't have a whole lot of survivability. I'm going to be the survivability. And then he died after about 6 sessions. And that one was just a tactical misplacement. And, like, some less than good rolls on my end, some good rolls on the GM side, and then whenever he was getting stabilized, and I was, like, one round from death, our medic in the party was like, okay, I'm going to spend a hero point to re-roll to try and, like, guaranteed stabilize you. And then he rolled a 1 and killed my character. But, like, again, nothing that you can do about that, just bad rolls. Although, admittedly, we were on level 3 at level 2. But, like, yeah, that was just some bad rolls, very, very narrow hallway with a creature, like, 3 or 4 levels above us. They were not actually, or they were pretty bad, but they weren't terrible for us. And then my third character, Livian Dross, recently dead, rip in peace. They were a fetchling Laughing Shadow Magus that my thought process was originally, because I came up with this character. I played 2 sessions of them as a playtest Magus before Secrets of Magic came out. We have 5 players, although I believe that the GM is adjusting up encounters occasionally, but this is the kind of party that will not leave the dungeon until no one has spell slots. So we occasionally go into fights without quite enough actual tools, but it's also a party that really likes tactical combat, so you don't make all that many mistakes. But Livian, the original idea was, oh, I'll play a fetchling Laughing Shadow Magus that takes the Shadowcaster archetype. So I'll just have every single shadow thing in this class. And then it ended up coming out, I was like, oh, well, this is way too edgy for my character concept. Like, oh, I'm literally incapable of casting light spells. But Livian eventually just ended up being the person who does occasionally pretty good damage and then one-shots bosses. And ended up taking the Eldritch Researcher archetype from the AP itself, which is basically just you're a conspiracy theorist, but you're a conspiracy theorist, but are you because they're actually out to get you archetype. It's very fun, and fits because I'm the natural conspiracy theorist of my group. Like, asking for exact dimensions of rooms so I can figure out exactly, like, the dimensions of the dungeon to see if it's or like, what kind of stone is this made out of, and where would this kind of stone be sourced from? I'm that kind of character, or not character, player. So it fit, and then Livian died, unfortunately. And that one was kind of on me, but I also got hit by I've learned that I can't play edgy characters. I I think the way that I described it to someone in my group is one person in our group likes making like very like character-driven characters with sad backstories, and they end up basically being the protagonist because they make protagonist-style backstories. But instead of protagonist-style characters, I make that weird kind of side character that does one thing and has a kind of over-the-top personality. Like, like, I make that one character that shows up every once in a while, and their personality is that they like explosions. I mean, there's more to them than that, but that's what's in my mind whenever I'm RPing. But they died, but admittedly that was because I made the stupid decision, willfully, of having a 10 on 10 wisdom on a magus. Which, in case you didn't know, maguses only are like trained in perception, and their will saves aren't the best. So, yeah, I got hit with a feeble mind and a phantasmal killer in the same round while drained 4. Yeah, that's just bad. So, and I rolled like a 3, and then a 3, then a 2 with a hero point. So, like, not much you can do there either. I would have died even if I hadn't dumped my wisdom. So then, my 4th character is technically my 2nd character, because seeing how I had already gone through, like, 2 characters in 2 months, my GM had said, okay, whenever Livian dies, when, not if, your backup character, are you okay with Kip coming back as a Duskwalker? So that is my current character, is Kip, the Kobold Monk, who now has the Ghost Hunter archetype, and is very much a ghost specialist, and it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, whenever I made Alara, my idea was, what if I just make like a genuinely good person without any any quirks or anything. They're just a genuinely good person who wants to be there for their friends, and then they died in like 2 sessions, so I didn't really get to do that. But I was like, oh well, they're gonna be a follower of the Black Butterfly, but not necessarily for the like killing abominations from beyond the stars kind of follower of the Black Butterfly, but at the I want to help people that are maybe a little bit disenfortuned kind of follower. And then they just died. Although it is very fun because Kip is not your normal kobold. Kip was raised in the Church of Torag. So it's fun because, you know, like, oh, it's super stereotypical to play a dwarf character with a Scottish accent or an Irish accent or something, but no one bats an eye if you play a kobold character with a Scottish or Irish accent. Oh, the Exorcist archetype is so good. And really, if... I have a gripe with some archetypes that is not related to the archetypes themselves. The Exorcist archetype is so good. But I hate that with the free archetype rule, you can't... like, I wish that... I understand why you can't just pick up any dedication you want. Or archetype dedication, that is. But I wish that you could... I want a... like, basically, the Exorcist archetype is... its dedication is level 4. But if you're playing with free archetype, then you get a free archetype dedication at level 2. That means that you cannot actually take a free archetype at level 4 or you can't take a new dedication at level 4 without GM fiat. So that's just frustrating, where it's like, oh, but there's this cool level 4 archetype that I can't really take until like level 6 without GM approval. And most GMs will approve that, but it's just annoying that it's a base part of the system. And I'll raise you Dustwalker, Psychopomp, Sorcerer with the Exorcist archetype with, how about Psychopomp, Sorcerer? Or not Sorcerer, Summoner. You don't just, you don't just, channel the powers of a Psychopomp. You just bring one here and say, you're gonna deal with this. This is your job. Oh lord, I need some AoE, huh? Well, that is an AoE, but I'll take it. Carrying Crown is so much fun. Really, like, I feel like my favorite part of Galarian is Ustalav, despite how much of Ustalav is just a hellhole. Because, let's be real here, Ustalav is one of the worst places in Galarian to live. Because most places in Galarian have horrible stuff going on, but people are still capable of being optimists. In Ustalav, things are going awful, and people are like, oh, well, just life. Life is doomed to be horrible. But it's such a fun adventuring. Like, it's so fun for adventuring because it's so horrible. It's wonderful. Oh, I just remembered a very dumb idea that I have for a character. I'm not sure exactly what deity they would follow, but they would have to follow a deity. It might have to depend on lawful neutral champions getting added. But I want to play a self-appointed OSHA inspector. So it's like, oh, I'm breaking and entering, yes. But I have to get in here to take detailed notes on exactly the infringements that you're making on your building practices. I've already noticed 3 doors that open into hallways, and that is actually illegal. And you'll be fined, I don't know, like 10 gold each, or else I will forcefully remodel your home. I don't know what god they would follow. I don't believe it would be Abadar, but I love the idea so much. Because you've got to ensure fire safety in a world where people have access to Fireball. I know nothing about Curse of Strahd. I know that it's, like, pretty much the one 5e campaign that people talk about, but I don't know much about it, actually. Ooh, well, I would go for someone like Asmodeus, but I want someone that focuses on construction, so Torag might work. But Torag is more of, like, construction and defense. I'm just wondering is there a god of architects? Although, I guess you could go for lawful good in the sense of, like, oh, we need to ensure workplace safety. And come up with some stupid acronym for a actual, like, organization that they're trying to start that is just OSHA. But oh, that's good. Gov the Builder. There probably is a dwarven god because it's the whole dwarven pantheon. I've also wanted for so long to play a rogue that specializes in breaking and entering, that is lawful good, that is basically like a white hat hacker. So they advertise their services of, I'm going to help you break into your shop. You're going to be standing right behind me the entire time, and I'm going to show you how to stop it from happening and improve your security systems. Because there are so many magic shops, that's gotta be a job somewhere. I also desperately want for like at some point to like, oh, one of my characters has died, and but they get told of, oh, someone like, I'm horrible with names, so I'm not even gonna try, but X and X wants to meet you because they have like a similar idea. So then they get the address to this person's house, they walk in, they get told to like come in from inside, they walk in, it's a bare room, no exits. Or, sorry, no exits. No doors. It's just one room, but, well, it's obviously a bigger house. And then look around, and there's 3 different secret doors, because this character is actually a follower of... I'm forgetting their name. They're one of the, like, other deities that is still worshipped in the Inner Seas, but not as commonly, whose domains are, like, transitions and secret passageways. And, like, just places of transition, which... A means, yeah, trans rep, and also secret doors and bridges, and like, so this person would have converted their house so that every single door is secret. Just like, oh yeah, if you want to get to the kitchen, you have to like take a certain book off of the shelf, open up to a particular page, and put it on this table. Alesta. There's so many like fun Pathfinder gods. And besides, no spoilers, a cleric of Alesta would actually enjoy the architecture of the Abomination Vaults. There are so many secret doors. And some of them make literally no sense. It's great. You basically have to have someone seeking at all times as an exploration activity. Or otherwise you're going to miss like half the encounters. Like, you never know whether or not a secret door is going to open up into a 5-foot hole in the Abomination Vaults, or a crucial bit of lore. Oh, I need a ukulele. So bad. Or a piece of healing. Yeah, I'm forgetting another thing that I love. It's pretty small, but I love it so much about Abomination Vaults, is an accurate amount of doors. Like, just normal doors. Which is a lot. There are so many, like, oh, there's a door out into this hallway. And then there's a door halfway across the hallway. Oh, you think that there's going to be an encounter in this room? Joke's on you, it's a bathroom. People still have to use the bathroom in Galarian. It has the highest amount of bathrooms I've ever seen in an AP, which is a reasonable amount of bathrooms. See, for a while, this character did end up dying, but our ranger in Abomination Vaults was deaf, and was also obsessed with opening up doors, but did not check them. So they were absolutely the sort of character where it's like, oh, someone's identifying a magical item, and the ranger's searching around the room because they have the best perception. And they find a secret door and they open it. Which Never actually got them killed, but it got them close. Let's check how much this is. Could be worse. Larva. I hate larva. How much is that? Okay. I am not, but I can make assumptions about sentient dungeons. I'm assuming they would reorganize? Like shift around? And our group is currently very SWAT team-esque. We have like 2 people in heavy armor. My character is effectively in heavy armor, and we just blast into every room. Yeah, the problem with our Deaf Ranger that opened every single door was that they were like 17 years old and had bad impulse control. So, realistically, no one had died from them doing it yet. They were the type of character that would literally pick moss off the wall and eat it to find out if it was like hallucinogenic or poisonous. They were a treasure. They were the chaos that the group needed. Because everyone else is like, oh, we have the like 2,000-year-old Damphir Bones Oracle elf who's like perma-serious. Oh yeah, mimic bedrolls are scary. Almost as bad as mimic bridges. Also, I'm curious, because, I mean, the Abomination Vaults isn't really set up for this, but I would like to see what is the most efficient party. Because I feel like more than any other AP I've played, you can make a most efficient party for the Abomination Vaults. Like, I think our group is convinced that it is all champions, all Duskwalker champions, with different archetypes to make up for lacking, like, arcane spellcasting or recall knowledge. Because, oh lord, there's so much negative damage in this book. Let's see. Yeah, that's why we were thinking champions. Because if you have played Abomination Vaults Book 2 or are GMing it, Book 2 champion Blade ally would be very good. Let's just put it that way. It is one of the few APs where there is basically you can get away with almost any of the oath feats, and it will maybe impact a little bit of your options for roleplay, but it's still very good. Well, you say you like the idea of a sentient plane of existence that just keeps people from ever leaving. How do you know that that's not what the material plane is? Yeah, Ghost Hunter you'd probably want like maybe 1 or 2 people with Ghost Hunter. But at the same time, you always have the option for, oh no, we're being attacked by a haunt. Okay, everybody lay on hands on 3. And you just blast it with positive energy. And yeah. Who needs Lovecraftian horror stories when we have reality? Hotel California. Oh yeah, Hotel California is... Oh, that would be amazing. To, like, get your party into a... get them into a mimic realm or something. You could do the same thing with demiplanes. And then it's just this weird, horrible flesh monster, and the further they go in, the more civilized it becomes until it is the Hotel California. Oh, I forgot the other important thing about the ideal party for the Abomination Vaults, which is you need to have they all need to be deaf, because there are a lot of auditory effects, and shockingly being deaf is a buff, so long as the rest of your party knows sign language. Which our GM was kind and said, oh, you can just take sign language as a language, rather than having to take the sign language feat. Sign language feat just gives you sign language for every language, when you can just take common sign language as a feat. Because it's just a language. Like, it's like the difference between, like, Japanese Sign Language, American Sign Language, there's probably German Sign Language, which I've been legitimately tempted to learn how to read sign language, but unfortunately I am lazy. God, I hate larva. That was almost dead. Oh, that's the first pause like that in a while. Wonder what the hell that was caused by. Hello there. Yup. Gups, gips, and geeps. Actually, geep is the middle. Okay. And then gip is the little fuckers. God, I need a ukulele. Crap, didn't grab the teleporter. We are level 9. Just hit level 9. Okay. Void Seed. I really need a ukulele, or really an ATG. Can make do with either. We've had one encounter, and unfortunately had a situation wherein someone's character died very close to their backstory. Let's just say they had the cave elf heritage. So they were very close to seeing all of their friends and family. And we are very upset that they died. But we've just had like one encounter there. Yeah. But, I think, this isn't much of a spoiler if you don't know bestiaries. We've had one encounter, and boy, can cotton balls fight back. I think they're literally called puffballs. Like, I think that is their creature type. XP. I think that we're doing the slow track, because this is a party that will literally do everything on every floor. We open every door. But I'm not sure exactly how I would feel about, they're pretty bad. It's more that they have 3 AoE poison abilities, and our group just didn't have great fortitude saves. Minus my character, because I have like a 21 against poison. But they weren't really even that bad. It was more that, it took 40 minutes to deal with the fact that we had 2 people that were dying that were poisoned, and we had to try and keep it up. We had to stop them from dying, and they were poisoned, which just took a long time. But, yeah, about Milestone versus XP, I do think that Milestone is definitely better, but the reason why we just ended up doing... no, don't even have many healing items. The reason why we went for XP over Milestone, because everyone agreed that, like, oh, we actually do like, we like Milestone more than XP, is because of the way that it is structured. You can always, like, you can, say, go from level 1 down to level 2 in almost instant, or maybe not exactly for this instance, but there are situations in Abomination Vaults where you can go from milestone to milestone in like 3 encounters, which then could mean you level up in 3 encounters, which then kind of makes the rest of that floor far too easy, because you're 1 level higher than you're expected to be for all of those encounters. So we instead went with the slow track. We have done some situations, specifically for the boss fight. I believe it's the boss fight of floor 1. We did it. Floor 1 boss fight for our Abominations Vault group was literally the 2nd encounter of the campaign. Yeah, so we were like, oh, well, do we want to do the fast track or the normal track? And then once we level up, you just don't, like, have XP until you go down to the next floor, and we just said it, we're just going to do slow, and you just get XP from every encounter. But for, like, ooh. Ow. But, like, this group is going to be doing Outlaws Valkenstar next, and we're absolutely doing Milestone for that. Although, even with Milestone, you absolutely can occasionally jump the gun a little bit. And I should say, the whole, like, leveling up way too quickly thing, that is a concern that our GM had, as, like, this might happen, or it might feel a little bit cheap. But it's not like, oh, this is going to happen, or I've heard of this happen. It was like it maybe might, so do we want to take precautions against it? And besides, this is, again, a party that explores everything on the floor, so we kind of like getting rewards for it. I'm not sure exactly what the milestones are, but this group is also one of the most efficient groups I've ever been in for actual combat, like combat speed. We get through stuff real quick, so depending on the session, we could get like 3 combats in. So, because everyone knows what to do in combat. Everyone knows their characters very well. So even with slow, we level up a fair amount. But even there definitely are some situations wherein you can, for APs in particular, Milestone can occasionally be a little bit too fast. Specifically in the Agents of Edgewatch game I'm in, we literally were at like level 9 for one session. I think it was level 9. It was like level 7 or 8 or something like that. Somewhere around that ballpark of levels, where I was like, oh, they're going to investigate this building, and once they're done investigating the building, they level up. And it was expected for us to go from the bottom floor up, and we used an item to bust through the top ceiling directly on top of the boss of the gang. So we bypassed the entire dungeon because they only have a wall between us and them. We can Kool-Aid Man through the ceiling. Yeah, as someone who predominantly plays martial characters that generally just grab or punch things, yeah, so some spellcaster turns can be a bit painful. But in our Abomination Assault group, we only have an Oracle, and that's our only actual spellcaster. Well, we had a Magus for a while, that was me, but my decision-making was not all that different from a normal martial. It's just, how hard do I want to hit something? Cantrip or spell slot. But because our only real spellcaster is Spontaneous, they don't have nearly as much... They're very familiar with all the spells in their repertoire. Although, generally I'll say, it can be really annoying to have to resolve really complicated spells, and it's like, oh, well, you're going to cast this spell. Well, there goes 2 minutes as we figure out exactly how it even works in this situation. The one example of when it's actually really hilarious is Prismatic Wall. Prismatic Wall is the stupidest spell, I think, in 2E. I mean that positively. Because you have to make 7 saving throws. That all have different effects. It is so good. I'll point out that this Construct Barbarian has to have... I mean, obviously they have to have good athletics, but athletics can be used to break open walls. It just uses the... is it break? What is the actual action called? Force open. It uses the force open action, and it just has a higher DC. So you absolutely, rules as written, can break through walls. This is not a tactic that my Agents of Edgewatch group has to use very much, or rather, we try and avoid using it, because we're trying to play guardsmen that are not just absolutely obliterating everything that they fight with incredibly lethal maneuvers. But my character has Whirling Throw, so I can throw people that I grab, and I'm very good at grabbing people. And the Sorcerer has Prismatic Wall, so if shit hits the fan, I can whirling throw someone into a prismatic wall and then force them to make like 7 saves. It's a very like prismatic. You know how there are some movies that are so bad they're funny? To me, Prismatic Wall is in a similar situation where it is so time consuming that it's funny. Okay. Let's see if the Healing Drone gets killed by the Vagrant. Also, I have adjusted the latency so I can actually hopefully see your guys' messages a little bit faster, and hopefully that has been working better. Ow! I had to grab that. Okay, got the lunar coin before I died. Good. Ah. Yeah, there's so much interesting possibilities with like high-level spells, but a lot of the issue with them is exactly how they look. So, like, how obvious is it that, like, for example, Prismatic Wall produces an incredible amount of light? How, like, yeah, let's do it actually happen run. Like, Prismatic Wall sheds light in like a 60-foot distance from the wall. So then, like, does an illusion on that wall hide that light? Because if you're shining like it's daylight, that's pretty obvious that something's going on. There's something down there. Okay. Oh, I just remembered another like Pathfinder setting for an AP that I would love to see, because there's already an adventure here, but I'd like to see it again. Which is, I want to see more of Pathfinder's moon, or Galarian's moon, because there is a open, like, gateway to the abyss there, and there's a jungle around it, and I just want to see more of that. That's fun. Yeah, I guess that what I should phrase is, does that illusion actually hide the light, or, like, if the Prismatic Wall is a higher level, then that illusion, it's like, well, the thing is, it's not actually light, or, sorry, it's not daylight. I think that is a specific spell. Now, it's bright light, so if something has, like, light vulnerability, then it's effective. The more I hear about Strange Ions, the more I want to play it. I would kill for a 2E conversion. But I am in too many campaigns currently to justify doing another one, because I don't want to enter like a campaign and then not be able to give a full amount of attention to another one. And I have learned that 3 campaigns is my limit. there's only so much attention that my little brain can dish out. Yeah, see ya. Oh, it's not as late as it normally is for you whenever you're watching, so have a good night. Oh, well, there was another one. Let's go get void item number 2. I almost killed myself doing it. Okay. Yeah, I should probably do the telly. And I really should have used my beacons at some point. You'll never know what's in here. I'll get the other drone. Just for the projectile deleting. Not for its actual damage output. The Queen's Land is probably my least favorite boss item. Because it relies, unfortunately, on enemy AI for this guy. And relying on enemy AI is never good. Yeah, I've been thinking about what I would like to see for the next core books. For, like, core rule books. I mean, they're not actually core rule books, but basically the main, oh, yeah, see it. But I've been thinking about what I would like for the next, like, core actual books. And, like, I'd like to see one on the Outer Planes. I'd like to see one for, like, wilderness sort of stuff. I'd like to see more about deities. But I'm not sure exactly if those would be what, like, the system needs. Like, I feel the one that, like, the one type of book that the system needs the most is also probably the most boring, and I don't know how I would fit it. Because, like, there needs to be more skill feats and more general feats. But it's hard to make that kind of, like, a book with a bunch of general feats and a bunch of skill feats interesting. Because, like, I basically just find that, like, almost every single one of my characters is like, oh, well, guess I'll take toughness. Guess I'll take fleet. Without, like, really making an interesting decision. Like, those feats are good as general, like, oh, I don't really have anything specific in mind for my character, so I'll take these feats that are generally good on every character. But The problem is I don't feel like there's enough general feats that are actually good and interesting to justify not taking the generically good ones. Also, this is probably going to be my last run. My voice is dying a lot faster than I was expecting it to, and I generally don't want to make myself hoarse. I still have videos to record, and you know, I have to talk to people, so I genuinely don't know why my voice is reacting this much though, because in previous streams it hasn't been this bad. Yeah, like, I would like to see a section in a book that's just like, okay, here's a bunch of general feats. Here's... I mean, I'm terrible at coming up with examples of them because I am multitasking quite a bit here. But, I don't know. I just would like to see more, oh, this is good for every character sort of feat. That isn't required, because like, you don't need toughness, you don't need fleet, but they're nice. But currently, those are like some of the only general feats like that in the game. Like, maybe, no, that would be way too good. I was gonna say something that, like, improved your proficiency. Or rather, like, basically an improved armor proficiency. Actually, that might be okay. If it was, like, a level 13, like, level 13 improved armor proficiency. You got expert in an armor that your class doesn't automatically make you trained in. Or improve your proficiency in. Because as it is, it's like... Actually, that might just already be a part of the armor proficiency feat. I'm forgetting. I don't want to wait. I want to argue with some move speed. Move speed is always good. Okay. Ooh. Bye-bye, Beetle Guard. Say hello to auto damage. Am I actually fast enough to get up here? I don't believe I am. Actually, I need the mobility. I won't scrap that or recycle that. Oh, okay. If that was a charged perforator, I would have gotten rid of the little disciple. But I really like the little disciple. It helps stop you getting overwhelmed by enemies. Just a normal chest. So I won't go for it then. Oh. What's that? Come on. Okay. I'll check what this equipment barrel is, and then I'll head off and get to stage 3 at 13 minutes. Thanks. I feel like I'm actually starting to hit my groove after like 5 months of making them. Glad that you're enjoying them. Probably going to be working on one of those later today because I currently... Oh, I've actually thought about doing a more like in-depth magic item sort of video, but that would take a lot of time to make because there are so many different types of magic items. It might be easier to go over like a more general like, here are the types of items that are good for particular types of builds, but for the most part, like, if a class is really dependent on a particular skill to be effective or to use their class abilities, they really need that. Like, for example, pretty much every single swashbuckler needs a acrobatics boosting item, and then whatever a item for boosting whatever the skill is that their style uses to get into panache, because they need to get into panache to use their class abilities. Or like, yeah, probably every alchemist and inventor should get like a crafter's eyepiece to get a bonus on their crafting checks because they're based around that skill. But for the most part, you can use like all the skill boosting items. You can basically you can put them on basically any character because most characters can be good at most skills. I mean, obviously, like, hate hiccups. Basically every character, like, okay, wizards are generally going to be better at Arcana than a barbarian because wizards are probably going to have a higher intelligence, but a barbarian still absolutely can have a decent Arcana. And actually, here's an item that I think that pretty much every character should get, or at least one character a party, even if they don't have occultism. Because I think it's called an Amulet of the Occult. It's like a level 3 item that gives a +1 bonus on occultism. And you can now cast the Guidance cantrip at will. Which Guidance is one of those cantrips that is incredibly good. Because it is... I mean... one action, verbal only spell to give a +1 status bonus on a check to an ally. Which, yeah, toss that on a fighter and watch them crit something almost guaranteed. It's just a very good, easy, and it's super cheap. Like, if you're at, like, 6th level, you can easily afford that. Because it's, like, 35 gold or 40 or something. Which is not much. Ooh. This could be bad. Didn't realize that there was 2 of them. That is a good point about having to remind people that you cast guidance on them. I generally, I basically exclusively play online, and then there it's useful because you can put like a marker on your token saying, oh, remember to use guidance, idiot. And on Foundry, it actually, like, you can get it to, oh, would you like to use guidance on this roll? And I say that that's good. Unfortunately, I still forget to use guidance. So, it depends whether or not your GM is kind enough where you say, like, oh, I'm making one attack this turn. I would have used guidance. Can I get the +1? If they're kind enough to allow that, then it's amazing. But it's just like, okay, you're paying a couple, or not a couple, you're basically paying pennies when past, like, level 6 for access to one of the best cantrips in the game. Yeah, Foundry is so good. And yeah, I like doing whenever I like buffing, I like doing passive buffs that people don't need to remember, because I know that I don't remember to use my own buffs. I don't want to have to trust other people to try to remember them. Same reason why, even though the system is built around the assumption that people pay for or spend 10% of their gold on cosmetics, or not cosmetics, consumable items, I spend 0% of my gold on consumable items because I know I will just forget that I have them. Except for, like, the 2 elixirs of life I try and keep on every character, because I can't heal someone, so I'll get someone up to heal themselves. And it really is staggering how much better Foundry is than, like, everything it competes with. I would appreciate some frames, game. Yeah, oh, that's actually something that I noticed at some point, which is really annoying, which is Foundry, is the drained condition on Foundry. So, it's, oh, I might die. Yep, I'm dead. Frames are for newbies. But, so, before I get off, because that was going to be the last run, and my throat is dying, the drain condition lowers your max HP by a certain amount, and then or by your level, and then it also deals an amount of damage equal to your level. So effectively, if you've taken 10 damage, and then if you take 10 damage, and then you get drained 1, you should still have taken 10 total damage, and, like, basically the difference between your current HP and your max HP should still be 10. You don't just lower your hit points by 10. Foundry does this for drained 1, but not drained 2, 3, or 4. It just lowers your max HP. It doesn't do the damage. Which is annoying to have to remember and realize, oh wait, Foundry is automated for almost everything except for this, which is annoying. But yeah, I am... Unfortunately, I am going to be getting off because I did not sleep very well last night. And my throat is on its way out. And feels like it is in pain. And yeah, I really should submit a port to the Foundry people. They are very responsive for people who are probably not getting paid. Well, they probably got paid for the Abomination Vaults module, but regardless... I stream every Monday, hopefully starting at noon EST now, and yeah. Until I see you next, live a wonderful life.